are in a Champions League final. After a dramatic win at the Emirates Stadium, they are going to Budapest in their first final in over 20 years, on a night the Emirates will never forget. So from Mikel Arteta's ballsy tactic that changed this game, to the secret behind the Emirates atmosphere, the star boy turned star man, and a monstrous Victor Gyökeres performance. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learned from Arsenal 1, Atletico Madrid 0. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and Arsenal are going to a Champions League final. I can't stop smiling. I can't stop believing. Oh, I got so much energy inside me, but of course we need to calm down and break it all down in this video. So as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But starting off with the first thing, and that is the Emirates believed. 20 years after Arsenal's last Champions League final, Mikel Arteta's men are going to Budapest, but in a game where the Emirates felt different. The energy before, during and after the game tells you something very important. The Arsenal fans are truly believing. Just look at the scenes going into the game, the atmosphere the Arsenal fans created, listening to Mikel Arteta supporting their team. This may have just been a semi-final, but the Arsenal fans were treating it like a final. And what a sight for Arsenal fans after years of being the laughing stock of England, from not getting into the Champions League to falling short time and time again. I was speaking to a rival fan before the game and he was watching in envy, seeing Arsenal in a semi-final competing at the most competitive part of the season. Arsenal fans enjoy every single moment right now because everyone watching us wants to be in this position, in a game where even the Arsenal admin was locked in before the game announcing the team news with just the word team news. There was no messing about whatsoever. Likewise, in terms of the Arsenal tifo over land and sea, a boat with the Arsenal cannon on its way to Budapest. And look at the boats behind, the flags of Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, Sporting Lisbon, teams that Arsenal have dismantled to get to the stage in the first place. The way the atmosphere impacted this game is clear and obvious. In previous weeks, the Emirates being nervous. In this game, the team wasn't just ready, likewise with the fans, believing and connecting to their starting 11. As David Raya said after the game, "I have never seen the Emirates like this." And that is because the Arsenal fans were seeing another performance. In the first half, Arsenal had 68 possession at 0.95 XG, as well as having the only big chance of the first half. Come the end of the game, Arsenal had more possession, more XG, more big chances and more total shots. And the most intriguing fact is the way that Arsenal got over the line symbolizes exactly where Arsenal used to fail and now we thrive. Because it was Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid that knocked out Arsene Wenger's Arsenal in the 2018 Europa League semi-final. In another game that was played on the finest of margins, Atletico went through on only 1 goal, but at a point where Arsenal were weak, naive and you could run all over us. The Arsenal of 2026, the Arsenal of Mikel Arteta, is a completely different proposition, outdoing Diego Simeone in the exact area that he's been thriving at. When Arteta arrived at Arsenal, Arsenal were not only not in the Champions League, they were weak physically, they had poor mentality. Say whatever you want about Arsenal right now, but not a single person can criticize the physicality and intensity of this team. And here was the effect after. The moment Arsenal confirmed a spot in the Champions League final for the first time in 20 years. Look at the way that Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal players celebrated. No, they were not celebrating a trophy, but instead realizing the history that Arsenal had made. The massive stride of getting to a final for the first time in 20 years, as the Emirates Stadium delivered on its biggest ever games was opening in 2006. And that's where Arsenal fans simply cannot forget. Nights like today is exactly what the Emirates was made for in the first place. To help Arsenal compete in the Champions League, compete with the likes of Bayern Munich, PSG. Then think about the results under Mikel Arteta. From beating Bayern this year, beating Real Madrid last year, to now beating Atletico Madrid in the semi-final. Go back to 2021-22 after Arsenal failed to qualify for Champions League. And imagine telling an Arsenal fan then that in 2026, we'd be going to a Champions League final. As Declan Rice said after the game, it is chaos in the dressing room. I don't think you can underestimate what we've done in this competition up to this point. The most prestigious competition in club football. We are just trying to soak it all in. And that's the same advice that I'll give every single Arsenal fan. Soak in every single moment you can right now. Because after years of being Champions League bystanders, 5 years of no Champions League football, not only are Arsenal back, not only are Arsenal competitive, but we are 1 win away from our first ever Champions League. And the smile that I have on my face when I think about that simply cannot be underestimated. But this is where Mikel Arteta also deserves massive respect, because in the biggest game in the Emirates era, he showed massive balls before the game to surprise the entire world and start Miles Lewis, with only Iker Casillas and Kanu having started more Champions League semi-final games as a teenager than Miles Lewis at 3. The reason behind that wasn't just the performance against Fulham. It wasn't the fact that his profile helps Arsenal thrive in individual moments. It's the fact that Lewis has the balls. goals. In a game like this where nerves can definitely get to players, having seen the impact they had on Martin Zubimendi in previous weeks, certain players in these moments, they shy from the ball, they don't want the pressure, but those certain players do not include Miles Lewis-Skelly, the prime example of a player that wants the ball, that demands it, and wants to thrive in these pressurized moments. Lewis-Skelly is a one-of-one midfield profile. The way that he can use his body to maneuver and drive Arsenal forwards. There are very few ball carriers of his quality at 19 years of age in the entire European game. He's also a player that may be a teenager, but you don't need to hold his hand. Respect goes to Mikel Arteta, because even Miles Lewis-Skelly's biggest Arsenal fans would not have thought that he was going to start a semi-final. But a man that was built for the Champions League, dropping a 6.6 overall score rating with a 90% passing accuracy, 27 passes to the opposition half, as always 19 carries and 2 progressive carries. Just look at the scene in the 73rd minute. Taken off of Zubimendi and the entire Arsenal fan base applauding. The chant of 49-49 Lewis-Skelly ringing around the Emirates Stadium as Lewis-Skelly's proud parents watch in the crowd. There's just something different emotionally about an academy player, our own boy, getting the belief to start in a semi-final and then putting on a performance to justify that. For all the talk about Lewis-Skelly's Arsenal future, the fact that he might not be going to the World Cup, the fact that other teams want to sign him, the fact that Arteta trusted him in his biggest game so far this season is a massive statement to any fan that thinks, if you're starting a player in a Champions League semi-final, he is not a player that you're thinking about selling. On a night that was built around belief. Credit to the Arsenal fans for believing in the team, credit to Mikel Arteta for believing in Miles Lewis-Skelly, and credit for Miles Lewis-Skelly for being a world-class young talent. Because to have a 19-year-old Hale-M player starting in a semi-final, it makes the story that much more special. What did you guys make of Lewis-Skelly's performance? Surely he starts against West Ham, but does he start in the Champions League final? I can't believe I'm even having that conversation in the first place. Moving on to the second thing, and that is respect Victor Gyökeres. In a game that got very intense right towards the end, Diego Simeone was crazy on the touchline, going absolutely bonkers, even getting into a bit of a fight with former Atletico director Andrea Berta. But after the game he had calmed down and he was actually very gracious, saying congratulations to Arsenal. They deserve it as they've been fighting for years to get to the final. Mikel Arteta has done an incredible job so far, so I'm very happy for them. Simeone is not lying because Arsenal deserved it. Not just in terms of the XG of 2.07 to Atletico's 0.71, but the word fight was used and I totally agree, especially when you talk about the performance of Victor Gyökeres. In a game that he made up the 5.8 overall score rating, don't let the numbers fool you. From 3 shots and 1 big chance missed, to 9 carries in total, 6 passes out of 12, and 3 of 11 ground balls won. If you're a man about the numbers, Gyökeres will never be rated. But if you're a man that watched the game and saw his impact, you have to stand up and salute Victor Gyökeres, a man that carried the Arsenal front line. And a second half where Atletico were trying to pile on the pressure, the amount of times Gyökeres is giving Arsenal a reliable output. I have talked about it time and time again. In the Champions League, Gyökeres is far more suited physically because he's able to really impose his physique. Today, his hold-up play was something out of the world. The exact same thing that we've been criticizing all season. In our biggest game was there, and that's why you have to give respect. As Thierry Henry says after the game, Gyökeres was immense tonight. That's why you have to think about the way that Arsenal scored their goal of this game. And it all comes